Hello friends, so this video is pretty basic. We'll be covering numbers in Python. So there are different kind of numbers, but for now we're gonna focus on integers, floating, powers, and so the powers of course are operation on numbers. So the first type of number that we're dealing in Python is are integers, and integers do not have any fractional part. And then we have floating points, which are pretty much fractions, and they have fractional parts. Then we have complex numbers, which are imaginary parts. Yes, if you're surprised, don't, because they are imaginary complex numbers, also available in Python. Then we have decimals, which have with fixed precisions. Then rationals with numerators and numerator and denominator. So all these kind of numbers are available in Python. Now, there are different kind of operations that you can make, and the most basic ones are additions, multiplication, and you can run powers and also all kind of uh, Python builds module. There are different kind of modules in math that we'll be covering later, but these are the basics. So let me run a few of these command in Python. And if you don't have Visual Studio Code, I highly recommend that you download it. It's gonna be it's pretty straightforward and simple to download. If you have any question about how to download it, please drop a comment and I will have send you a video or link out the video where I show how to download Visual Studio Code. Now, let's run this command in Python. What you want to do is highlight pretty much your command and shift enter. This will run the command, and you should be able to see the answer. Let me try one more time. There you go. So the addition of these two numbers give you 1221. So you can Python is pretty much like a calculator, also act like a calculator if you want to um, run or add or subtract a number. So let's try multiplication. Multiplication for the multiplication you had to use the star on your keyboard. So if I hit shift and enter, it gives you 9. So that's how it goes. So when you have a float, a float, which is again like I was mentioning earlier, a float has fractional parts to it. Okay, and most of the time you will see a lot of numbers after, a lot of digit after the decimal. So these are recognized as float. Um, Now, how about power? How do you know you want? How do you use power in Python? So remember, with multiplication you have a star, but with power you have two stars. So 3 to the power 100. If we run it again, shift and enter, you get this big number that Python is displaying. So now let's get to math. Okay, the math module. Now the math module has a lot of functionality into it. So if you go to Python itself, let me go to probably to the Python website. So if I Google math um, module in Python, you should be able to see that there are many operations that you can do with math. You can do trigonometry. Um you can do um, all kind of mathematical expression. You can even use mixed value. You can do transformation using log, gamma. You can even do power. Uh, and like I was mentioning, there's a lot of operation that you can do with math functions. So with that, I'm just gonna show you how to use pi and square root. So in order to do that, you just have to first import math. So import means you need to bring the math package into Python. Once and you cannot use math without importing the math module. So let's import that. Shift enter. Math is important. That means that you can be ready to start using it. Now, with that, let's use math.py, because py is again is a functionality of the math module. So shift enter, and that gives you 3.14, right? So this is an example of how you can use math. Now, how about the square root of 24? Pretty straightforward. You can also use shift enter to get the square root. So these are different methods. These are called methods. These are different methods that you can use within the math module. Now, can you create your own method, your own module? Yes, there's a way to create your own module, but this is more for advanced level. Let's go to random number generation. In order for me to do that, I need to first, of course, um, call the random module. Now let's find out what random does. Random module in Python. So what random does is it help you with many things. You have one example is using C. So if you have an operation where you want always, especially in machine learning, you always want to get the same result that different people have. You definitely want to use the seeds, and you can also generate a random number on the fly. You can also deal with distribution like gamma distribution or normal distribution. But let's get back to our Python, and let's put let's request a random number. Let's just run random. Okay. Now random, you're pretty much asking Python to give you a random number, and it can be anything. So 0.22. If I run this command again, I'm going to have another random number, and again I'll have another random number, and so on and so forth. So these are floats. You really asking Python to give you any kind of random number float. Now there are instances where you want to randomly, right, ask Python to give you a number, but within a specific list, right? So you have a list of four numbers: 10, 11, 20, 20, 45, and I'm asking Python to choose himself to give me any of those numbers. So when I run it, I can have 10. A second time, a 10. A third time, I can have 23. So these are random selection that Python is giving me, which are in the limit of the list that I just gave Python. So I'm not covering lists right now, but I just want to focus on numbers and how to use them in operation. And these operations are not the only operation. There's of course a subtraction, division, modulo operation, and all these details I'm gonna cover them in another video. Now, my next video will cover strings. Thank you very much for listening, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And I will see you for another session of Python for Beginner. Thank you.